when you manifest something and you're 100% committed to yourself, you don't need to ask anybody else. You don't need to make people feel or believe in you. I remember when I sent my daughter to Venezuela, everybody was attacking me. I almost closed my social media because I'm like, they are like, oh, you're a bad mom. Oh, now what? You guys are still in the same place since 5 years, 4 years ago. And I have scaled mentally, financially, everything. So don't judge people if you don't know what's their why, what's their plan, what they are about to do.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Syndicating Your Way to Wealth, the podcast that educates, inspires, and empowers you to build wealth through multifamily syndications. I'm Katie Cepeda.
I am Yelfrey De Leon, and today's guest is a true testament to resilience.
Yes. She arrived in the United States in 2017 as a single mother without knowing English. She faced the challenge of validating her career as a general surgeon. From babysitting to pizza delivery, she worked 5 jobs until she was introduced to the world of real estate. Fast forward, she now manages a 20 million real estate portfolio and has the freedom to work from anywhere and is on a mission to empower others. Please welcome Andrea Lancioni to the show.
Thank you so much for bringing me here. First time on a podcast, so I very appreciate you guys, getting to know a little bit more about my story. Thank
We're
you.
excited to have you on.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here, Andrea. Andrea, so we know you have a very, very powerful story, coming to the United States without knowing any English, and also having to do so many different jobs and so many different things in order to survive here, and then going on to build an amazing career in real estate, which is very different than what you did back in your home country. Can you tell us a little bit more about your story and how that shaped the person that you are today?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, thank you again for bringing me here. My story is pretty weird, I would say that, because in my country back in the days we used to have like a pretty solid like economy. Everything was pretty much fine. So since I can remember, since I was very young, I had this entrepreneurial spirit. Like my dad, he used to have his own company and everything. And I just saw him work, 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 but I didn't want to pursue like going towards his company because he always say, "Hey guys, you want to keep going, keep the company through generations." So I already started opening up my mindset through that, but I wanted to be more like an independent contractor. So that's why I started my career as a general surgeon. And back in 2017, when I was pretty much done, like in March, and my ceremony was supposed to be in November 2017, my country started having these like it wasn't a war, but it was like a lot of issues between civilians and the army. So there was a lot of deaths, a lot of issues. So every single time I will be in the hospital, there will be like a conflict of event as a physician. Like, how can I treat this person from the army that is attacking civilians? So my daughter was in August 2017. She turned 1 year old, and I was like, you know what? I need a better future for her. Even though I don't know English, but my sisters might teach me because my sisters were living here in Philly. They were at the university. So I told my mom, what about if we go just 3 months or something to the US and see what we can do there? Maybe something good is going to happen. I didn't have a good relationship with my daughter's dad. So that's kind of what pushed me harder to just leave. So I came here, no English. I started like looking for like training, but then I didn't have the money. So I went like watch like kids shows. And then I say, you know what? I'm going to start with the kids because they are the ones that are going to teach me the fastest way. So I started applying as a babysitter. um I found a family. They were like French, so the two little girls spoke English, Spanish, and French, so that was ideal for me. They were teaching me English, I was teaching them Spanish. They taught me some French words. And then the word of mouth started, as Venezuelan people in general, well, especially me and my family, our background, were very hard workers. So I got in touch with other families. I started taking care of kids. My mom support me with my daughter, taking care of my daughter. But then my mom decided to go back to my country. So in that moment, I'm like, it was 2018. I got all my political asylum in order to be, like a legal immigrant here. And then I started delivering pizzas. I started doing a bunch of jobs on the side. I got a license as a medical assistant, as a phlebotomist. So I started applying in medical facilities. I got the job. I did P shots, PRP, like you name it, and I did it. I was like a medical assistant, but they knew I was overqualified. So they got me doing whatever I wanted, under supervision, of course. But that's how I got into this like business path. So at some point, I talked to the owner of this medical facility and I say, dude, I'm doing like 7 jobs here. You need to take care of me. Like I need more money. So I was working like Monday through Thursday, 12 hours shift. I didn't see my daughter much. And then one of the PT told me, Andrea, there is a place that is called Rec and Royal. They are opening. You will be amazing to be a bottle server because you are entertaining, you're nice, you're happy, you're pretty. And I'm like, dude, all that you see is just here. That's not my personality. Like I'm very shy. My English is not perfect. I don't like my accent. I don't know if I'm gonna do well. But then when he told me you might be making extra $3,000 every week, and I'm like, okay, this is good. So I had a conversation with my ex. He was actually here, like for vacations with my daughter, and I told him, what about if for 3 to 6 months you take my daughter back to Venezuela? Our whole family is there. She's going to get more quality time. And I can, keep working all these jobs on the side. So in that moment, he said yes. He took my daughter back to Venezuela. I met my current husband. He introduced me to the real estate world. He was in corporate America, but just quitting that job to be full time in real estate. And then I decided to be committed with him. So I say, well, F it, let's go all in with this. And it was like the right timing because then COVID happened. When COVID happened, a whole mess was created in his company. He already had several rental properties, several investors. He had a construction company, but everything went crap. And he's like, Andrea, I'm about to file bankruptcy. And I say, what are you even talking about? So I jump into this crazy world of real estate as a project manager, property management, calling mortgage companies to get forbearance plans, calling the tenants to make a payment plan with them, getting out of investors, repaying debt. So we were working like 200 hours a week, every single week, and that's how I can tell you that I jumped from nothing in real estate to being forced to be in real estate. And now I pretty much know a little bit of everything.
That's incredible. Thank you so much for that, very detailed story. So, just to summarize and recap a little bit here for our audience. So, Andrea, surgeon in Venezuela, comes to the United States, starts doing many different types of jobs, 5 jobs at a time, if I hear you correctly. Is that right?
Yes, correct.
And then on top of that, she sends her daughter back to Venezuela so that she can embark on this journey of real estate and continue to expand her knowledge base. And not only that, her now husband almost files for bankruptcy. And Andrea, basically what you did there, you started adding value, right? Like you sort of saw an opportunity where you can come in, help, add value. You were already good at some of these things when it comes to marketing, advertising, and things like this. And then you continue to add value, and you guys grow in real estate. That's impressive. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, it was I really tried to like learn super quick. I'm a quick learner, especially being in the emergency room for so many years. It like pushed me to learn fast. So that's pretty much what I did. I was controlling even the social media. I got like 7,000 followers in his construction company. So I can speak
Incredible.
all day about every single position I took on the company and how I learned it from A to Z. I feel like I have a master on each thing.
That's good. Yeah, and then you continue to learn, it's a learning process. So for sure.
I'd like to dive a little bit deeper into the roles that you took on because I'm here thinking, and for our listeners out there that want to begin, somewhere in real estate. I know you had a lot of different hats. You said the social media marketing, you were able to expand a little bit on that. I think you also said property management. How were you able to, I guess, I'm not sure if it was all at once or in separate um, timings in your time in that moment in time, but how were you able to excel? Were you taking any courses? Were you self-taught? How were you able to scale and learn so quickly?
That's an amazing question because everything was pretty much self-taught to me, like in the sense of uh, before I met my husband, I was also I also opened like a clothing online company, and for some reason I found the hacks of how to get followers on Instagram. It was through like I went and checked like specific hashtags you had to use. That was back in the days. In today's day, I don't know because I don't have the time to research it. So I got this company and it grew super fast with 10,000 followers. At some point, I shut it down and I say, I'm going to model it the same with the content creation for the construction company. That's how I learned it. Like I was just posting every single day, following all the guidance for social media stuff. Then project management was more introduced to me by myself because I was managing Spanish contractors. So it was just like a learning process of going every single day. I would have curiosity and ask them, "Hey, how do you do this? Why do you do it? Why do you do this in this way?" So all the step by step process, and I was taking notes. Like I was doing my own checklist. I was also listening to some podcasts. I don't like to read much because I get sleepy, but I go to like audiobooks, so I listen to the books. And I was listening to the step by step process how to become a project manager, and that's how I did it. Then I mastered that. Then on the property management side, that's the one I most hated, but that's the one that actually helped me to understand that what the main business we want to keep is buy and hold. And a lot of people they don't like to hold because of the headache of tenants, but I mastered it in the sense of I had more curiosity from the tenants, like, okay, so why, if these people have 5 kids, how will they support it? So I started doing my own numbers. I started doing some research. Okay, this is the minimum wage they should have in order to afford the rent. So I work backwards on people's mindset and how you can continue to pay rent without affecting us and affecting yourself and your family. Then I went to the site of how to recruit a tenant, how to do it the best way, how to go in Zillow, how to have a property management website that people can pay. And this company can send me all the taxes and everything, but I'm not gonna get billed on this. So we researched for Hamlin. It's like a legit property management company. And then I started going to websites to get handyman. And then on the accounting side, I opened my own spreadsheet. So it pretty much was like common sense for me, and I did it on myself. But then my husband introduced me to, okay, we're going to start going to masterminds, we're going to start going to these places. We went in 2000, at the end of 2021, we went to this amazing mastermind from Matt Larson, and he exposed us to the wholesale business and also the VA world, virtual assistant world. So then I was like, oh, okay, hold on. So if I shoot videos of myself explaining the scope of work of each position that I need to hand out because now I'm maxed out, I need to grow now mentally, emotionally, financially. So I started going to online websites to get these virtual assistant people from all around all around the world, like Egypt, South America, Philippines, Iran, Iraq. I researched which country is the best, for example, for customer service. So that's how we approach this. Now we have an amazing virtual assistant staff, and I mastered that. And then we went through the wholesale business, and then the fix and flip was pretty easy for us because we found an amazing contractor. We gave him a house for free so he can stick to us. So all these things have been like self-taught, but at the same time have been able to listen to audiobooks, go into different masterminds. Right now, we're in the DM group, which is the Deal Maker group. So we're our mentor is Mark Evans, and we go we're taking a different approach of life based on what he, yeah, told us to do. But that's how I did it.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing those tips, Andrea. So, if I hear you correctly here, it sounds like in order for you to grow, right, you have to invest in automations. Like you touched on a lot of really good points here using virtual assistants, which, they're getting pretty good. I mean, they're all over, like the Philippines, as you mentioned, Costa Rica, Mexico, all of South America, and that's great. So, and yeah, I mean, it's like you mentioned, in order for you to scale, you have to invest in these processes, in these systems. You have to first learn it and master it well so that you can then, sort of outsource it once you have
Yes.
those processes.
Yeah.
So, no,
So
that's great.
invest in that education. And it doesn't, I really like that it didn't start first paying for a mentorship. It was something that you said it was self-taught through podcasts, through audiobooks, and then afterwards you were able to, I guess, hire a mentor or start taking classes where you're able to implement that.
Yeah, I identified that I had a lot of loopholes, like gray areas, and I'm like, I'm not perfect. I don't know. I can know from A to C the step by step process that worked for us, but that doesn't mean there is something else that is not better than what we're doing currently. And
Right.
that's why my husband is the best person to explain our the scale of our business, because he's the one that pushes me. Like, I feel like I know a lot of things pretty well, but he's like, but Andrea, this can be better. So let's continue to grow. Let's continue to look for people that they have done it and they know better than us.
I
And
love
I'm like,
Right.
that.
okay, let's do it.
Yeah, I mean it's teamwork, team effort, teamwork, and in this case, you also happen to be romantic partners, so that's amazing. Great. So I guess changing topics a little bit, but kind of staying in the same area. So as you mentioned, you've been able to scale your business through a lot of these processes, automations, mastering, attending networking events, project management, all of which are extremely important things. In terms of strategies, what strategies have you used in your business that have allowed you to scale your business to basically build a portfolio of over $20 million?
Yeah, well, the main strategy, like I said, it was having a staff, like having that people that allow you to keep growing. If you don't have people with you that can help you, you will literally don't go anywhere. So back when it was just me and Mario that we have to fire everyone, we were just getting out of debt. But to start scaling, we have to hire all this virtual employee world. And then the best way I mastered our growth, it was one, my husband was doing like capital raising on one side, or more in like let me get the private lender, let me get all this front end, the acquisition part. And then at the same time, what I would do is I will come behind him, get all the project management situated, like all the construction ready. And then the same day we close on the property, I will list the property on Zillow. I will make sure I start the recruitment process. I will go to the projects every single day to make sure it was done by week number 3, get cleaning lady, get the tenant in. So in the first month, I will get my tenant in place with a lease. And by, let's say we started in January. By month number 3, which is March, I will get the refi money back. So if in January we did 5 properties, in March we have 5 incomes just from that part of the business. And then we kept doing the same over and over. So it's a better strategy. You repeat, 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 and that's how we build our portfolio. So pretty much we'll send the money back to the investors, but it became a cycle. They wanted to send it back to us again.
Right.
And
Reinvest
so
essentially because of the trust, right?
exactly. So some months, of course, you are a little slower than others, and not every single property follows the birth strategy. So we will start thinking about, okay, what about if we flip this property? We keep our contractor busy. What about if we wholesale this thing? So in that moment, we started implementing so many different strategies, but those were the 3 that really help us scale our portfolio and build the $20 million portfolio.
Excellent. And I guess just really quickly, so in terms, so you're talking a lot about the processes, right? But in terms of specific real estate strategies, so we know that not only do you focus on fits and flips, but you've also learned a little bit about some of the other real estate strategies, like multifamily, and Airbnb, etc. Can you touch a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so as soon as I'm sorry, as soon as we started building our portfolio with single family homes, we also say we need something that is the same complication but with less headaches. You know what I mean? Like, for
Hmm.
example, if the single family homes gives you a headache, what about if we do the multifamily? So we started scaling duplex, triplex, quads. And then some of the properties, strategically, I would see that there is a lot of hospitals around or medical fields. So I would say, okay, this property can go to short-term rental. We can make it an Airbnb, VRBO. Sometimes I listed on furnish.com, which is more for where these nurses that they do 3 to 6 months, but basically the employer is the one that sends you
The
the
checks, yeah.
application.
Hmm.
So and then I'm like, this work is amazing, but you have to be strategic which properties to take on the short term. Like you're not gonna get a property in Paulsboro, for example, where it's in the middle of nowhere to put up an Airbnb property. But if it's sent, like right now, I'm in one of my Airbnb properties. It's in Center City. Is it's all year round, like locked in with somebody that is coming for vacations, for work, nurses, etc. So those three strategies, being multifamily, single family, and short-term rentals, are the big ones. But now we're ready to go to commercial properties. We want to start like offloading single families and put that money into commercial. It's like 100 units in one place, one headache in one place, so you don't have multiple headaches.
Right, right. And then it also allows you the opportunity to scale bigger, faster. So that's
Correct.
great. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing.
So, for these deals, can you share a little bit about how and what is your approach to raising capitals for these deals and establishing and in building that relationship with your investors?
Yeah, so we didn't take the approach of say we're gonna raise capital, right? But accidentally we did. It was like the first time it happened, it was Mario talking to one of his friends, a doctor that he makes like $1 million. And then he was like, dude, I get all this money on taxes. I don't know what to do. He's like, dude, but let's get depreciation on this money. And then you don't
Yeah.
pay so much in taxes. So you can give me a part of your money. I stick it on real estate because you don't want the cash flow, you don't want the return, you just want the depreciation. So they created an LLC together. They became partners. He's an angel investor. My husband takes 80% because he's pretty much the one that is taking with the headache, acquisition, disposition, everything. So that was one of the first moments we got exposed to capital raising, because it's like, okay, we take your money, we put it on real estate, we put a first lien position, your money is there. And whenever you want your return, let's say it's 10% return on the investment in a 12-month period, we send you the check, but the money stays there, right? So that was one of the first approach we took. Then when my husband pushed me again to open my social media for Spanish community, I found that, of course, we have so many things in common, the Spanish people and me, because I'm an immigrant. I felt what they felt. It's like you have 10,000 in your bank account and you feel like it's enough, but it's never enough. So then I went backwards and I say, okay, guys, so you need this this little money to make it money, but quickly. But there is no such that you can make a big investment. So we're going to become like partners, but I'm not going to open an LLC. I'm just going to make a promissory note, put a lien on the property with this $10,000. And then in 6 months, I'm going to send you all the money back with your interest. So you can repeat the process. And let's say in a 12-month period, your 10,000 is going to be now 50,000. And then you're going to be able to invest by yourself if you want to. Okay. So I started doing that, and that's how now it's working better. So what I do is, instead of me bringing the cash to close on a property, let's say they ask me for 10% down, I ask this person for that cash. I put on the property, and I'm not bringing my money. So I'm making a leverage on people's, but at the same time, their money is protected on the real estate. And then let's say it's a 6 months, but I did it in 2 months. Then I put the same money on a different property, on a different property. And at the end of the day, I can do with that little money, I can do a flip and I can take on two properties for my own portfolio. And then I return the money. So that's how we are doing capital raising. It's not like we're finding a deal and then finding the money. We are asking the people, what money do you have? And we're going to put it on this deal, if that makes sense.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And if there's one thing, well, there's two things that you mentioned that are very important. And actually, yesterday I was listening to another podcast where they were talking a lot about you have to share the wealth. In order for you to scale, you have to share the wealth. And I'll give you a perfect example of that. I mean, when Steve Jobs died, he only owned about 0.6% of Apple stocks. So what does that mean? I mean, you have to share the wealth. In order for you to grow, you have to collaborate with partners, with people. Another perfect example of that is also the Jewish community. This is why they have scaled so much and they have become one of the wealthiest communities in the United States and probably the world, right? Because they work together and they share the wealth. So this is something that's very important and that you touched on. And then the other part of it is leverage. You have to leverage your finances. You have to leverage your partnerships. You have to use the money from the bank, and use it for your own strategies. So that's great.
Sharing other than knowledge with people, you share like and that's going to come to one of my whys in life, like so if I'm doing all this stuff for me and for my family, what's next? So
Right.
for me, of course, it makes me feel super. I appreciate all the luck. I mean, I've been very lucky, but at the same time, I have worked my butt off, right?
Of
But then
course.
I say, okay, I'm creating all this stuff for me, for my family, for the next generation. So what about if I teach people to do the same? It doesn't mean you need to match with my same core values, but just think about it for a second. Think like, okay, all the work you're doing today, you can give it to your kids, you can give it to your grandkids. And at the same time, when you are, well, the way I feel I'm gonna die is like in my bed and I'm gonna have a big smile and say, wow, I made it. Like I'm ready to go because I am setting all these people up and this is my footprint in life. Maybe it's going to be for like nobody's going to remember me in 100 years, but if I can keep these through generations, maybe they will remember me.
100%. I love that. I love that. Awesome. So, I guess going back to something that you mentioned earlier, you mentioned that you had to send your daughter back to Venezuela in order for you to do all of the jobs that you had to do in order for you to succeed in the United States. That must have been very challenging for you. Can you touch a little bit about that and how that made you feel and what was the whole strategy behind that?
Yeah. So I had back in those days, it makes me emotional because I had two plans. One, it was or I make it in the US or I'm just going to my plan B, which was I had a friend, she's still living there in Mexico. And she was like, Andrea, I have a great job for you. You don't even need to do any single step. You don't need to take any tests. You just come in. They are going to give you like 3 months paid of an apartment and you're going to start working right away as a physician. And I'm like, that sounds too good to be true. But what about if instead of me taking the easy route, I am going to go through, just try it, just test it to see if I can do something better. And here I am. I'm very grateful that I took that, I made that decision back in the days. But for me, in order to keep focus and don't break down, not having my daughter, then COVID happened. She literally got stuck in my country until December. Like my country didn't open. It shut completely down. They opened for 2 weeks. In those 2 weeks, I took her out. So, but for me to be focused, I was working literally 20 hours a day. Like I was just, I couldn't have free time. If I had free time, I will cry and break down. So I will work out 2 times a day. I will be busy the whole day, reading, working. So if I can walk you through one of my days, back in the days, it was like wake up 5:30 a.m. in the morning, get ready, drive 1 hour to the hospital, in that driving portion, I will listen to something that keep my mindset. It was more like motivational stuff I was listening to, so to keep me going, like, Andrea, you got this, you can do it, you can make it. So I will go to the hospital, log in like 15 minutes before, check my whole day, prep every single patient I will have, and then work from 7 to 11:30. Then that hour break I will have, I will create content for my husband's website and stuff, and then I will keep working. At 5 p.m., I will go right to the gym, get changed, work out, then go to one of the houses if I needed to clean or prep something for the next day for the CEO, something like that. So, and then I will go back home, get a shower, dinner, talk to my husband. I mean, we were dating back in the days, and then again continue with my routine. And during the weekends, I will do pretty much the same, not in the hospital, but cleaning, doing some art walls and the stuff. Like I try to keep my brain super busy to get me out of the depression mode, because I knew I would do nothing with depression because she was already there. There was nothing I could do. There was not even a ticket I could buy and go to fly to my daughter or bring her back. So I'm like, I'm just gonna make it. And in fact, I got like a bunch of good money in my bank account, and I decided to do my first investment, which I have explained, in my YouTube videos about my first investment as a seller financing strategy on a duplex.
I love that. So it was
Yeah.
basically your why of bringing your daughters over here and basically excelling and getting to that goal is what kept you going during that difficult time.
Yes, 100%. I was like super. If I'm very honest with you, I just didn't know if I could make it. But I was so confident. And I remember one time I heard this guy, the owner of Starbucks, he says something like, if you're listening to me and you're feeling this that I feel, that means you're gonna be a billionaire one day. But if you don't feel it, it's okay. You are the 95% of the people. Don't worry about it. And I'm like, oh wow, I literally can feel this. Like I feel what he's saying. I understand his motivation. I understand how to follow through this. So I know I got it. I just have to stay committed. I have to keep my mindset on, work out every day, eat healthy. And then my daughter is going to come back to me. And I'm 100% sure I'm going to give her a home when she's back. And in fact, I did it.
Wow.
This is powerful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Your why needs to be strong enough. And this is what I usually tell people. Your why has to be big enough for you to really want this and to make it out there. A lot of people say, oh, when I have money, when I'm rich, when I do this. No, the time is now. You have to act now.
Yeah.
Now,
Never.
when you are having these struggles.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
another thing is the fact that you said when you heard that was in a speech or a talk, you heard and you believed that to be true. You already knew. You're like, I know I could do this. You're already envisioning. I know I can bring my daughters here. I just have to keep consistent. So it's believing, not only going through the motions of it, but also believing that yes, I know I'm going to get there, and it might not be tomorrow, but I'm gonna stay through the course of it.
And stay
Yeah. And
consistent. Yeah.
yeah, I believe in manifestation. When you manifest something and you're 100% committed to yourself, you don't need to ask anybody else. You don't need to make people feel or believe in you. I remember when I sent my daughter to Venezuela, everybody was attacking me. I almost closed my social media because I'm like, they are like, oh, you're a bad mom. Oh, now what? You guys are still in the same place since 5 years, 4 years ago, and I have scaled mentally, financially, everything. So don't judge people if you don't know what's their why, what's behind the what's their plan, what they are about to do. And I manifested it, and I say I'm gonna make it, and I still have some good manifestations that we're not gonna talk about it, but I know where I'm going to, and every single person that is around me and surrounds me, I can feel the feeling. It's just I'm not like manifesting bad people around me. It's like good, and we'll push each other, and we continue to grow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Thanks for sharing that. One thing, it's like you cannot listen to what society has to say. I mean, 95% of them, they have no idea what they're doing. 95% of them. So
100%.
Okay, so talking about the real estate market, we know it's something that's always changing. During rough markets, how do you change your strategy or what do you do to adapt to those changes to make it work for you?
Yeah, well, it seems, well, I feel I've been in real estate for 20 years, but it's been just 3, almost 4 years. And in these 3 to 4 years, we have faced every single market you could possibly have, I think, in decades. Like buyer's market, rentals market, a seller's market, whatever it is. So like a big roller coaster. And one thing I appreciate a lot from me and my husband is our adaptability skills. Like we adapt and we're like, okay, so this is one issue, and we're committed to do our something that is called L10 meetings every single week. So we switch all our strategies. We're on top of things. So we are like, okay, if this is not a fix and flipping market, then we do the PER. Okay, if it's not the PER, we're gonna do a wholesale. If not, we're gonna do a wrap. If not, a list to purchase. If not, an novation agreement. If not, we're gonna do a subject to seller financing. So all those new terminologies that now you hear on every single guru, we were making it already. We were like, we understand this. As long as we meet with our attorney, everything is by law. We can do it in the state of New Jersey because our primary business is in New Jersey. We're good. Like, so that's how we created like 10 to 15 strategies that now every single time like a private lender or a bank asks us, okay, what's your exit? Honestly, we have like 10, so don't even worry about us. Like we have this in one of the strategy. If the market tanks, then this is the second strategy. If the market shift right here, this is our third strategy. So we pretty much have strategies for every single market phase.
that's great. That's great. And, that's the good thing about having so many different strategies, right? That you can always, if this one doesn't work, I go back to that one, etc. So that's very good, impressive.
Yeah.
Can you touch a little bit about your long-term business goals? Are there any business objectives that you're trying to achieve? What are the next steps for you and your business?
Yeah, business related is like we definitely want to start offloading our single family homes and just enter into commercial. Like some people call it multifamily, like if you have over, 100 units or whatever. So we definitely want to be in the multifamily commercial because it's just like in one place. So I see our business growing to just 1 to 2 places where you have 1 to 2 handymen headache in just one place. We already have our property management business established. And the second part is that we want to start buying businesses. So instead of making real estate business as our cash business, we want to have a cash business that burns the cash into real estate. So we already hired an attorney that is looking for some businesses that are on distress, like 10 to 20 years old, but they are about to retire. So we're in the process, but we're going to basically establish the same strategies we do in real estate in a business, in the sense of we want to start doing a seller financing. So we want to keep the owner on board. So the owner help us understand his own business. So he's going to become our employee now. So that's our next strategy. So we see ourselves in 2 to 3 years from now just being completely retired, like having cash business, dumping it into real estate, and then working around the world.
That's great. And I like the idea of keeping the current operating model of, the current business owners, right? Because who would know their business better than them, right?
Better than the next side.
So,
Yeah.
no, that's awesome. And, wishing you all the best of luck and success on that new strategy. So that's great.
Yes. Andrea, to wrap up, can you tell our listeners where they can find you, where they can learn more about you and your projects?
Yeah, well, basically, like I said before, I was not too involved on social media. We were doing everything by our own and just having the social media of the business. But now I'm building my personal brand because what is better than really knowing what is behind what's behind this whole stuff. So it's me personally, so people can find me on YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook as a real estate con Andrea. I have my own website, con, if you it means with in Spanish. So it's more for my whole content is in Spanish, but it's just because I'm trying to build up Spanish communities, Spanish people to grow up. And in Instagram, I have Real Estate Español. So two different names, but I'm going to try to buy one specific domain and then switch everything to one.
Great. And yeah, it's so important nowadays with the Latino and the Spanish speaking community growing so fast in the United States. We are one of the biggest consumer groups in this country. So why not tap into that market?
Yeah, they
That's
have a
very
lot of yeah, they have a lot of needs. Right now, I'm meeting with so many people in different angles that it's just big what is about to come. We're opening like a big division on just the lending side, traditional lending, then a big division on private lending, then just for fix and flipper, people that want to do quick cash all the time. So we're gonna have a bunch of events coming up, a lot of lives that we can keep teaching people. I have my YouTube. It's not I'm trying my best to put a lot of content out there, but sometimes it takes time for the content creator. And then at the same time, we're just trying to teach. We're gonna try to do like once a month meetup with the Spanish community so they can understand. We're gonna create avatars. Does that make sense? Like I'm gonna create 10 avatars. We say like, okay, you're a single mom, you don't know English, you don't know where to go, you have no money, no nothing. Okay, this is your checklist. You're gonna do this, and then you talk to us. Okay, now you're a person that is a contractor, illegal, but had an IT number. Okay, this is your checklist. This is when you're gonna come to us. So we're building. It feels slowly, but at some point it's just gonna hit, and everybody's gonna be able to just gather in one big community, like you say about the Jewish community.
Yep.
I mean, it's gonna take years to get to that place, but at least it's a start.
You're getting there. So
Trying.
there you have it. If you are a Latino and you want to learn more about how to invest in real estate, follow Real Estate con Andrea. We're going to add all of that information on our socials. And I'm so excited for what's coming for you, Andrea. You're doing amazing things.
Yeah, no, thank you so much, guy. I appreciate you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here.